sometimes it's useful to be able to apply a filter to all worksheets on a dashboard. Now, in principle, we could apply the filter to each worksheet on a dashboard separately, but clearly that becomes very tedious when you have a large number of worksheets on a dashboard, or when you want to change the filter on a regular basis. And we're going to see how to create a filter on a dashboard in this exercise. The dashboard will allow us to interactively change the health measure we map against the economic data that we have in each of the data sheets. Now, in order to make the dashboard a little bit more user-friendly, I first create a new, not quite a visualization, but a new worksheet by dragging question from the chronic disease data set onto a worksheet. Then I will widen the column a little bit so we get more in, we can see the question in greater detail. Then I right click on it, select format, and change the font to 12. So you saw how I do that. Right click, format, brings up this pane, then font 12. Okay, come out of this. And I'm going to rename this sheet question. Okay. Now we're going to make the new dashboard. And you know how to do that. Simply click on the new dashboard icon at the bottom. You see all of the data sheets we have. I'm going to drag question into it, and then the 2014 data, and I'm going to drop that right next to it. You see that Tableau automatically adds the size legend as well, but since that makes life a little, the dashboard a little too busy, I'm just going to delete it. Now I add the 2015 data, drop it below question, 2016 data, drop it below the 2014 data, and again delete the two legends. Then we do the 2017 data and the 2018 data, again delete the legends. And then I resize things a little bit to make sure that they are more or less the same size. I can move this up a little bit, move this up a little bit. And maybe do the same here. Okay, you may have to mess around with this a little bit. And now we're going to create a filter that we're going to apply on the to all of the sheets on this dashboard. And since we want to change the question, I click on the question sheet in the dashboard, and then you see this thing come up, choose more options, and then go to filters. And since there's only two fields on this worksheet, namely location description and question, I'm going to click on question. And you see the filter comes up on the right now, and I can change it to whatever attribute I want. So let's do alcohol use among youth. And now what I'm going to do is I want more options, so I do apply work to worksheets. You can't quite see it, but I have 4 options. I can do it all using related data source, as we did before, or using this data source selected worksheets. For only this worksheet, I'm going to select selected worksheets. That brings up all of the worksheets, and I can do simply select all of them. So now this filter applies to all of the worksheets I have on here, and since I don't have this data for all of the worksheets, I'm going to go and select one that I know does work for all of them, namely influenza vaccines amongst institutionalized adult, non-institutionalized adults between 18 and 64 years old, I think with a heart problem. Okay. So this is fairly straightforward, and I can change this in whatever way I want. But if you look at it, it turns out that these titles become a little too busy, so I can just change them. So I'm going to do that here, change them just to the year. Again, we do that for all of them. And as you probably know, whatever changes I make to the worksheets automatically propagate to the to the dashboard as well. So this looks a little better. Now, the other thing we can do, if you look at the y-axis, the x-axis rather, you see that it's not quite the same for all of the worksheets. So for 2015, we go a little bit beyond 30. For 2017, we go a little below 30, and the same for 2018. So what I'm going to do in order to make these, and you see that nowhere do we drop below 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the x-axis on all of them so that we have a fixed range from between 7 and 33. And clearly I have to do that for all of them. Or I should make it 34. And you see that the dashboard looks a little better now because the bubbles are a little further apart. Now you may be tempted to do the same for the y-axis as well, because again you see that they're not consistent, right? So for 2018 it goes from 0 to about 50. For 2017 it goes from 0 to 60. But the problem with doing that is that the values are differ considerably between the different disease data. So if I look at prevalence of chronic kidney disease, for example, you see that it ranges from 0 to about 4, whereas when I did the influenza vaccinations, it ranged from 0 to just over 60. So I can't really go and mess around with the y-axis the same way as I did with the x-axis.